Hello friends, welcome to Political Science and International Relations. In this lecture, we are going to discuss the concept political economy. Political economy has been given as a topic under paper 2 along with comparative politics. The syllabus says political economy perspective. We have to study political economy as a perspective. Perspective is a way of looking at reality. Political economy is also an approach for comparative politics. So expect questions accordingly. Political economy, concept as such as a perspective. Political economy as an approach for comparative politics. Okay. We will now discuss the concept of political economy. We will look into the views of scholars regarding political economy. We will find out why political economy approach is very important for political science as well as comparative politics. Okay, friends. Political economy, as a name implies, the two important words here are politics and economics. What is politics? Politics is related to power. Whenever you see a power structured relationship, you will see politics. Politics is everywhere. Politics is in family, it is in office, it is in electoral politics, it is found between different states of the world. When human society is arranged based on a power structured relationship, it becomes a body politic. It is seen as polity. This is called politics. There is a pursuit of power. The most important institution associated with politics is state. In day-to-day use, we use the term country, but the term used in political science is state. State is a distinct physical and political unit which exercises sovereignty. It has independence to decide its own affairs. India, US, Pakistan, China, Russia, all these are examples of states. Next is economics. What is economics? Economics is the study of the use of resources, consumption and production. This is called economics. It also includes the behavior of people with respect to production, consumption and the use of the resources. Activities like trade, marketing, banking and so on comes under economics. The combination or the synthesis of politics and economics is called political economy. Okay, now why should I study political economy? There is a good reason to study political economy because economics as a subject, it was not studied separately in the past. If you look at the ancient period, economics itself was a domain under politics. The term economics can be broken into oikos and nomos. Oikos, it refers to house. Nomos means studying something or the law. So, economics itself was under politics. If you look at the ancient Greek period, during the period of scholar Aristotle, the word economy, the discipline economy was not seen separately. It was actually the study of the household management. Household management itself was a part of politics. Only later economics emerged as a distinct discipline. Political economy is the relationship between politics and economics. The scholars involved in political economy, they are of the view that the relationship between politics and economy is a very important matter of study. The relationship is manifesting itself in many ways. What do you understand? There is a intricate relationship between politics and economics. They tell that this is seen in reality, it is observed in many areas. So there is a need to study politics along with economy. They also tell that political economy provides explanatory and analytical framework through which social and political phenomenon can be studied. So they want to go for a common framework under which we can study social phenomena as well as political phenomena. Let me explain this with some examples. How we can use a common framework to study social and political phenomena. When we speak about social phenomena, it includes the economic aspect also. So we can say a framework for economic phenomena and political phenomena. Let's take the concept of division of labor. Division of labor can be studied using political economy. Division of labor is nothing but the dividing of tasks between different individuals. The tasks are delegated, they are divided based on the abilities and the skill set of the individuals. This concept is called division of labor. On the outside, division of labor is related to the subject economics, but division of labor is also related to politics. Let's take an example from the Indian context. In the ancient period in India, division of labor was operating through the concept Varna system. Similar systems were seen in other parts of the world during the ancient period. In the Indian context, it was a Varna system. The society was divided into 4 classes. The ruling class were the Brahmins and the Kshatriyas. Ruling class. Then Vaishyas. Vaishyas were the producers. They were agriculturalists as well as merchants. The other class was Shudras. They are the working class. Okay. Each class performed a different function. When you look at through economy, they were actually involved in division of labor. The Brahmin was conducting rituals. He was a priest. The Kshatriya was a warrior. He was a king. The Vaishyas were merchants. The Shudras were the working class. They were serving the other 3 classes. So economically it was division of labor. But this division of labor had a political connection also. Power was also divided between the 3 classes. Brahmins and Kshatriyas can be taken as a ruling class. Now how was power divided? The higher classes, Brahmins and Kshatriyas, had more power. The lower classes, Vaishyas and Shudras, had less power. Shudras had the least power. When you study the classes based on power as well as prestige, now you are studying politics. When you study the nature of the work, the relationships of production, you are now studying economics. Am I correct? But both are ultimately connected with each other. The political aspect, the distribution of power, dominance, control of the society, concept of domination and subjugation is related to power, which in turn has a bearing on the economic relationship. This is an example of political economy. Now if I want to study the reality with respect to Varna system, I have to go for political economy approach. Is it not? If I simply go for politics or just for economics, I may not be able to study the reality. I have to go for a framework in which I can study both economic phenomena and political phenomena. In the ancient period, the pre-Vedic period, the class system was not present. Society was largely egalitarian. It was a form of a tribal community living. The people produced, they had common ownership of the resources. At the time, they did not have the surplus produce. When surplus produce emerged, slowly the class started and the class relationship also started. Later came the classes. In the same manner, we are able to obtain classes in the Western societies also. Another example, Karl Marx. you can find political economy in his ideology. Karl Marx did not consider himself as an economist or a sociologist, but we look at Marx as both economist as well as a sociologist. He can also be seen as a political scientist. According to Marx, the economy determines the society. He calls the economy as the infrastructure. The infrastructure, you have the economy. In the economy, there is a concept called MOP, mode of production. Mode of production is nothing but the existing economic system. It is called mode of production. The mode of production consists of two other aspects: forces of production and relations of production. Okay. In the mode of production called the feudal system, which existed in the past, feudal system, there was FOP and ROP. In the feudal system, there was relationship between the two classes. The ruling class was the lord, the ruled class was the serf. The feudal lord controlled the serf. The serf served the lord. The forces of production refers to the technology, capital and tools required for the production. The feudal system did not have high-end technology, it had very lower-end technology. Okay, this is the infrastructure, which is nothing but the economy. Marx tells that it is the infrastructure based on economy which decides the society. The society is called the superstructure. Society, superstructure, economy, infrastructure. Now, where will you see the politics? Politics is related to power. Politics is related to power structure relationship, is it not? Politics is also related to the behavior of the people and the institutions, relationship between the institutions. You will see the politics in the superstructure according to Karl Marx. For example, the nature of the state itself will be decided by the economy or the infrastructure. Other institutions like religion and so on will also be decided by the economy or the infrastructure. Now you will find correlation between economics as well as politics in the approach of Karl Marx. In the European context, the religion Christianity was the major religion. According to Karl Marx, the religion Christianity will be present in the superstructure. Religion Christianity itself is a product of the economy or the infrastructure. The values in religions like Christianity will actually reflect the nature of the economy. For example, the Bible tells that it is easy for a camel to enter the hole of a needle, but it is difficult for a rich man to enter heaven. What do you understand here? The religious literature, according to Marx, justifies inequality. It is encouraging the poor people to accept inequality, oppression and die in the pursuit of an afterlife in heaven. According to Marx, economy and politics are interlinked with each other. According to Marx, the working class, the workers will get liberated only when society reaches the final stage called communism. So these are some basic examples understanding political economy. We can also discuss examples in the present context. International relations. There are many organizations which are related to economy as well as politics. IMF and World Bank. They were started as economic organizations after Second World War. But later they started to influence the members politically. Nothing but connection between economy and politics. Most of the countries obtained independence after Second World War. But even after that, many countries were under imperialism. They were under indirect imperialism. Indirect imperialism is called neo-imperialism. Organizations like IMF and World Bank actually caused neo-imperialism. The powerful states of the world, UK, US and so on, were able to control the poorer countries, the developing countries, through such economic institutions. An example of political economy. Another example, socialist states. Socialist states like China, erstwhile USSR. In the socialist states, the state itself involves in production. Socialism tells that the state will be the owner of the means of production. State will be the producer in simple terms. So you will see state-led production. The state enterprises will engage in production. In practice, private sector is also allowed, but in states like China, state production is a predominant form of production. Now what do you understand? State is related to politics. It is related to power. It is a political unit. It exercises sovereignty. It exercises legitimate violence. Now the same state is also involved in economics. Now you have to go for political economy in order to get better answers for the reality. Let me give even more contemporary examples. China, through its economic project called the Belt and Road Initiative, is able to influence many Western states. How do you see China politically? You see China as a socialist state, is it not? It was a part of Eastern Bloc. This is how we study politics. Eastern Bloc member, China. We follow the legacy of the Cold War even today. This is politics. It does not give me all the answers. According to politics, China belongs to Eastern Bloc. The opposite bloc is Western Bloc. States such as UK, US, France, Germany are present here. Am I correct? When I study only politics, I get to know that these states followed liberal democracy. States such as China followed socialism. I get only partial answers. I am not getting real answers. Now I have to associate with the economy. Now if I study only economy, I will once again get only half answers. China is a socialist state. US, UK, France and so on were following capitalism. I am unable to correlate. I will come to an incomplete conclusion. Now I have to involve both politics and economy. Through the project called BRI, Belt and Road Initiative, China has invested in many countries including the Western states, which are liberal democracies by politics and capitalist state by economics. But the BRI project has been extended to such an extent that even states such as UK, France, Germany and so on are getting help from China. China is indirectly supporting these states. China is a producer which provides goods and services to these states. Now what do you understand? I will get my answers. I will be able to study reality better only if I go for a synthesis of politics as well as economy. Is it not? Institutions like BRICS Bank and AIIB were started in the recent past, roughly in the last 10 years. These banks cater to the developing world. Earlier, the developing world countries like India were dependent on the IMF and World Bank. But IMF and World Bank indirectly put political pressure on countries like India. We are brought under neo-imperialism. We wanted to overcome this challenge. As a result, countries such as China, India and others came together to form economic organizations such as BRICS Bank and AIIB. Here also there is politics involved. Earlier, IMF and World Bank held the developing countries like India and China hostage. Whenever we went for help, they will pressurize us to enforce some conditions. But the BRICS Bank and AIIB is largely free of politics. Through BRICS Bank and AIB, developing countries like India are able to get financial help without any political pressure. Okay friends, I have now explained the practical scope of political economy. This is the starting point of political economy. So I have given examples so that you can understand the concept with great clarity and write answers in the examination. Okay, now we will look at the views of some important scholars regarding political economy. The American political scientist Weingast, he gives his opinion regarding political economy. He tells that it is a methodology of economics applied to analyze political behavior and institution. Methodology of economics applied to study political behavior and institutions. In India, often political parties announce subsidies or welfare schemes before election. What is this related to? This is related to economics. This in turn affects political behavior, is it not? Many parties, they will announce cut in fuel price before elections, LPG, petrol or diesel. This in turn affects our political behavior. We tend to vote for the party which promises the most. Some parties promise freebies to people. So economics is influencing political behavior. This is a view of Weingast. The most important scholar in political economy is Adam Smith. Adam Smith is seen as the father of economics. He is also seen as the political scientist. His work is Wealth of Nations, written in the 18th century, 1776. His book Wealth of Nations is seen by many as the first authoritative book on economics. Adam Smith. With Adam Smith, the modern period of economic thinking begins. Joseph Schumpeter. Joseph Schumpeter, a political scientist, he was famous for putting forward the concept of democratic elitism. Joseph Schumpeter talks about political economy also. Joseph Schumpeter. As a student of political science, you should know about the scholars associated with a particular concept or topic. Schumpeter says, political economy is the exposition of economic policies on the strength of normative principles like liberalism and socialism. What is he telling? He is telling that we should apply economic principles to normative principles associated with political science such as liberalism and socialism. Normative means related to norms, related to values. This is how Joseph Schumpeter views political economy. The two major divisions of political economy are socialism and liberalism. These two are applied as approaches to study political economy. The two broad ones are socialism and the other is liberalism. Apart from this, Marx's critique of capitalism is an important perspective to understand political economy. I already explained the view of Karl Marx with respect to politics and economy. So Marx's critique of capitalism is used by many scholars to analyze political economy. Political economy as a subject is relatively new. Earlier it was a part of politics. Only after the medieval period it became a separate discipline. So we can say that political economy is both older and younger compared to political science. How was it older? Earlier it was associated with political science itself. Later it diverged as a separate discipline. Origins of political economy. Originated in ancient Greece. Later, Renaissance contributed to political economy. So how do you trace evolution? You trace it from ancient Greece. Right from the period of Aristotle, when the household management itself was studied under politics. Next came the important point, Renaissance. Renaissance was the first transition from the Dark Age to the modern period. Earlier, the state was given importance. Renaissance gave importance to humanity. Earlier, human being was seen as a means to an end, but Renaissance rediscovered man. Man was seen as a central point. This is the Renaissance. Art and culture was used under Renaissance. After Renaissance, science flourished in Europe. At the same time, the science also faced the backlash. Scientists like Galileo, they were punished. Galileo was later transferred within Europe. Later, Northern Europe became more advanced in science. Southern Europe became less advanced in science. So Renaissance and the intellectual and the scientific climate in Europe can be attributed to the development of political economy. The scholar William Petty is called the father of political economy. Note down his name, William Petty. If the English Enlightenment and the American Enlightenment were the major contributors to political science in the modern period, the Scottish Enlightenment was a major contributor to the political science. Scottish Enlightenment. One important scholar is David Hume. At the time, Scotland was an ally of France. It was close with France. At the same time, the Scottish people liked the economy of Britain. Later, Scotland itself became a part of Britain. Right? So this is how political economy originated from the classic period towards the modern period. The 18th century is very important for political economy. 18th century along with the Scottish Enlightenment largely contributed to the subject of political economy. During the modern period, many scholars, they were associating economics and politics very strongly. David Hume, along with the political economist Mandeville, he actually supported capitalism. These scholars, they had the view that with capitalism, a moral code of individuals will automatically arise. What do you understand? With capitalism, people will get disciplined. They will try to empower themselves without conflict. There need not be any revolution. As a result, a moral code for individuals will automatically arise. This was the view. The French Enlightenment scholar Montesquieu, he also supported capitalism. Montesquieu told that civilized behavior among people will emerge with commerce. Adam Smith and David Hume, they supported capitalism and limited government. According to them, limited government is always good. A minimal state is always good. Limited government is a government which has checks and balances. So this is upheld as best. According to Smith and Hume, the minimal state or the limited government should have only few responsibilities. It should not engage in economy. It should take care of defense, justice, rule of law. Other than that, it should leave the economics to the private sector. The individuals are best equipped to take care of the economy. Market will take care of the economy. So such a minimal state is upheld by Smith and Hume. The concept is minimal state, limited government. Limited government is a government which does not interfere with the individual life of the people. Its duty is to safeguard the life, liberty and property of the citizens. Limited government has only limited burden related to defense and so on. This automatically leads to efficiency. This leads to participation of people. Right. So, you should not intervene in the private life of the people. You take care of the people, but ensure law and order, ensure justice. At the same time, it will broaden the political participation of the citizens. As a result, there need not be any conflict. There won't be any conflict. There will not be any need for a revolution. The English society historically was very stable. For the last 400 years it was stable because it largely follows the limited government. Minimal state is seen. Importance is given to capitalism. Capitalism allows people to go for development without conflict. You are given equal opportunity to become unequal. So these views are held by the modern scholars from Europe who supported a liberal democracy along with capitalism. So these scholars are coming under the liberalism approach to political economy. Next comes the socialist scholars or the Marxists. They are just the opposite. They attack liberal democracy. According to Marx and Engels, liberal democracy itself is a sham. Liberal democracy gives freedom to the individual. You find liberty given to the individual. The state is minimal. The state maintains maximum distance from the individual as much as possible. State and the ruler maintains a distance. Okay. Now, Marx will tell that the concept of liberal democracy itself is a sham. He tells that liberal democracy provides only political equality but does not provide economic equality. Without economic equality, there won't be actually political equality. This will be the argument of Marx and other Marxists. Engels also came up with this view on political economy. According to Engels, political economy is related to the study of the laws governing production and the exchange of the material means of existence. What do you understand? Man produces. It is the first historical activity of man according to Karl Marx. Engels is also a Marxist. Both Engels and Marx contributed to Marxism, even though the ideology is named after Karl Marx. Engels tells the subject political economy study is the laws which are related to production and exchange of the material means of subsistence. If you take agriculture as an example, agriculture as an activity is nothing but production. Am I right? It is related to the material means of subsistence. Within agriculture, political economy will study the laws governing the production and exchange. How the produce is obtained, how it is sold, how it is consumed, what is the nature of the behavior among the stakeholders. This is how Friedrich Engels looks at political economy. The Soviet economist Rubin, he sees political economy as the production relations which are established among people in the process of production. People come together to produce. This is a general view of Marxist. Rubin also a Marxist, but Rubin tells that we have to look into the production relations, how people are related to each other in the activity of production. In IT company, you see production relationship between the CEO, general manager, regional head, manager, team leader, and the worker. An example for you to understand. According to Rubin, political economy is a study of the production relationship which are established among these people, CEO, manager, and so on, in the process of production seen in the IT company. Got it? Apart from this, scholars of political economy see political economy as a study of the productive forces of society within a particular social form. This is the general view. We are going to see the society. Within the society, we are going to see the productive forces of the society. Who are producing? Who are engaged in the production? How this is seen within a society. I already gave the example of the Varna system. Varna system is nothing but the pattern of production seen within the society. In case of India, it was the society as seen during the ancient period. Apart from this, political economy also studies the social values and the structures through which resources are transmitted. Political economy studies the social values. It also studies the structures through which resources are transmitted. Able to understand? Let me give some examples to understand this. If you take the Islamic states of the world, like Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and so on, there are some social values. The society itself is guided by Islamic principles. The law in these countries is influenced by the Quran. The Islamic law is also called the Sharia. Political economists will study the social values. Here it is related to the Islamic principles. Am I correct? So when it comes to social values, you will study the Islamic principles in the Islamic country. The Sharia tells not to go for borrowing and lending. It is against the principle of Islam. So the structure in the Islamic country under which resources are transmitted will be related to the social values. Got it? Take the case of Europe. The scholar Max Weber, he associated the religion Protestantism with capitalism. Protestantism religion is related to social values. Protestantism was nothing but a reformation of Roman Catholicism. He told that it was Protestantism which led to capitalism in the West. According to Marx, the economic structure leads to religion, but according to Max Weber, it is the reverse. According to Weber, Protestantism religion, which is nothing but a part of society, which is also related to politics, is actually leading to the economic concept called capitalism. Protestantism related to social value, capitalism related to the structure through which resources are transmitted. Got it? All these are examples. So this is how scholars look at political economy. In the Indian context, we can give many examples with respect to social values and structures. Take land reforms. Even though land reforms were initiated way back after independence, they are still incomplete. One of the reasons is the correlation between social values and structures. When the state tries to implement land reforms, we mainly see land reforms in economy, is it not? It is seen with respect to structures. Land reforms is seen here, distribution of land to the landless, poor farmers. We mainly focus on how the resources are transmitted. How should I take the land and distribute? My focus is here only. But my focus should also be on the social values which are related to power, which are related to politics. In India, caste system, which is related to social values, actually prevents proper implementation of land reforms. Okay? Caste is related to land ownership in India. Caste related to social values. Caste itself has values. Land reforms, actual process of land reforms related to structure. But there is a correlation between two. Most of the upper caste people, they have more ownership of land. Lower caste people have lesser ownership of land. And many people don't even have land. Most of the Dalits in India own very less land. The Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas in the ancient past, they were having more land ownership. This discrepancy reflects even today. Now, how will I go for a proper solution? I have to go for political economy approach. I simply cannot go for economic approach or the political approach. I have to combine both of them. Only then I can go for proper solutions. Many farmers in India don't part away with their land. Land is very emotional for them, social value. Apart from that, the joint family structure, it causes fragmentation of the land holdings. All these come under social values. Now the social values are related to the structures through which the resources are transported. Because of many factors, land reforms are not properly implemented after independence. Now, how do you find the solution? You have to find the connection, intricate connection between the social values as well as the structure. The important approaches associated with political economy are modernization theory, dependency theory, and the world systems analysis. We will study this in detail later, but keep in mind these are the important theories. Some important theories under the political economic approach. One is the modernization theory. (1950s). According to modernization theory, there is a dualism between developed world and the developing world. According to modernization theory, the developing countries have to follow the path of developed countries. In simple words, the developing countries should modernize in future. Only then the process of state building and consolidation will happen properly. So economics is intertwined with politics. This is the view of the modernization theory. Scholars such as Rostow, they are associated with the modernization theory. According to W. Rostow, American economist, he speaks about the modernization as a 5-stage process. First is the traditional stage, second is the precondition for takeoff, third is takeoff, fourth is drive towards maturity, the fifth is high mass consumption. He tells that the third world countries, the newly independent states of the world after the Second World War, they were present in the traditional stage, that is the first stage. The second theory gave new insights into political economy. This theory is the dependency theory. The scholars associated are Paul Barron, American scholar, Paul Barron, leftist. The important scholar, most important scholar is Andre Gunder Frank, American German scholar, Andre Gunder Frank. We don't have time to study these theories in detail now. We will study later, but understand the essence. According to Andre Gunder Frank, there is no dualism between developed world and the developing world. Frank tells that the developed world actually made victims of the developing world. Developing world countries such as India were simply used by the developed world. This concept is called dependency. The associated concept is called underdevelopment. The third world countries are underdeveloped today because they were exploited by the developed world. They were exploited. They are underdeveloped today because they were kept as underdeveloped by the capitalist countries, the developed countries. Natural resources were taken from the third world to the capitalist world. In turn, the development of the third world was prevented. According to him, right from the 16th century, capitalism started operating. From the 16th century onwards, the third world was connected with the capitalist world. So he does not see any dualism between the capitalist world and the underdeveloped world. The third theory is called the world systems analysis. The scholar associated with Immanuel Wallerstein. Immanuel Wallerstein. He uses a systems approach to study political economy. He also follows the approach of the earlier scholars, but he puts forward a new analytical framework. He classifies countries into three categories. Immanuel Wallerstein: core, periphery, and semi-periphery. Developed Western states like US, UK and so on are core. They supply goods to the underdeveloped countries. The underdeveloped countries are the periphery. The underdeveloped countries supply natural resources and take the products from the core. The core is politically strong. Not only is it economically strong, it is politically strong. The state is stable. Government is stable. The concept of statism, state formation itself is very strong. That is why they are also able to dominate economically. In the periphery, the state is also not strong. So here you find a correlation between politics and economics. Periphery, state less stable, economy underdeveloped. Core, state more stable, politically very strong. It is also economically very strong. Between the core and periphery comes semi-periphery. Countries like Israel, South Korea and BRICS countries, including India and China, can be placed in semi-periphery. Semi-periphery shares the characteristics of core as well as periphery. They are economically strong, politically strong, but not very strong. At the same time, they also supply products to the periphery countries. Countries in Asia and Africa, the backward ones, they come under the periphery. So countries like India and China, they supply goods. They are economically and politically strong to a certain extent. Very poor countries in Africa and Asia come under periphery. They are politically very weak, economically very weak. They are dominated by the core as well as the semi-periphery. This is the world system analysis put forward by Immanuel Wallerstein, American scholar. He was a sociologist. Okay friends, I will end my lecture with this. I hope you got a very good idea about political economy, the perspective as well as its approach towards comparative politics. Thank you.